Hey everyone, welcome back to the SW7 YouTube. Now today we've got a really cool opportunity. We've got Fred Cloak down, one of our signature program members, and I'm going to take him through a little bit of retesting. Fred had previously a bit of an injury to his shoulder, so I set him some KPIs around some lower body power and stiffness. So we're just going to retest those, and then we're going to go into one of his hypertrophy pull sessions just while he's in his pre-season.
As Gas said, I'm Freddie Cloak. I'm 18, play prop at the minute, hopefully 8, if I can shed a bit of weight. Currently at 112 kilos, going off to uni next year, hopefully to continue playing rugby down there.
First, obviously we need to warm up the shoulder and stuff because we have an upper body session after, but we're just going to focus on the tests initially, okay? So we're going to activate some of the lower body muscles, all right? So I'm just going to bring this through. Nice and easy just to start off with. Feet up on here. We'll go double leg just to begin. Looking for a 90-degree angle. Just a nice elevated hip. Drive your hips through up to the ceiling. Back down. Give me 10 reps of those, okay? Once you've done them, just jump up on the mat there for me, okay? Drop your hips down and through. So you're just going to open up the hips there. Where it gets tight, I want you to pause there for a second or two. Then come back. And I want you to try and rock a little bit further past there, okay? So really drop those hips through. You should get a really nice stretch down that front bit by there. You're going to do that one more time for me. Good stuff. From there, I just want you to create a bit of a frame, okay? So opposite arm down, and then we're just going to rotate up. Lovely. Open up the thoracic as well. And just try and follow your hand with your head, okay? So give me 6 on that side. Hands on your knee, okay? So you might need to just drop your leg a little bit further forward. So you're going to go hamstring. So lean into that. You should get a nice stretch on the hammy. And then you're going to rock forward and just be a little bit more dynamic with that stretch, okay? So you're just going to rock
on the floor or?
In and out. Keep your heel on the floor. Don't mind too much about the toes. You can kind of rock into that. Just a little bit more dynamic, getting some good range, both through the hip and the hamstring. So starting off with this one, just dropping the hips through, find where it's tight, challenge it, pause there, come back out, drop back down. Good, one more time. So just gonna go from squat to stands just to start off with. Okay, so about 6 reps. Nice high chest, up to the hamstrings, just a nice smooth tempo. Try and keep yourself anchored on your toes if possible. About 6 reps.
Knees are dreadful for crunching.
Good. Nice high chest, look forward. There you are, spot on. So our tests are going to be quite power-based and they're going to be quite reactive. So I want to make sure that we are kind of fired up for that. So we're just going to start off nice and simple. Hands above the head, walking lunge out, one length of the track, okay? And then we're going to come up and we're going to start doing some skips, some rebounds, start getting everything feeling quite springy, and then we'll go from there, okay? We're going to emphasize, it's a bit of a weird one, we're going to emphasize your kind of step. I just want you to walk, I want you to come all the way up onto your toes, okay? Yeah. So nice control to it, just a bit of a regression to ankling. So you can do one length of that, okay? Almost like a pogo. You're just going to go alternating feet, okay? And I want you just to try and stay on your toes, okay? So it's quite springy and reactive. Then we're just going to go into some pogos, okay? Real low level. So we're just going to go about 5 reps, just practicing some technique. Okay, so what I'm looking for technique-wise, you're landing here. I don't mind if the heel touches slightly, but I don't want it to be on the heels really, okay? Balls of your feet. And obviously what I'm looking for then is for you to actually bring your feet up. So as you're jumping, your toes are coming up because that's what causes the stretch reflex in the Achilles, okay? Got a beat this time. We've got a counter movement jump. Our max was 36.9 centimeters. Okay, so that's ground zero. Right, so first of all, this is kind of the potentiation start part of the warm-up. Just gonna go through the technique, okay? So hands on hips, looking probably for more of a quarter squat. A lot of people go all the way down into the squat. They lose a lot of kind of velocity there. Quarter stop and then explode, okay? Go for about 60 to 70% for me, just get a feel for it.
Just
and
one
then we'll
rep?
start testing. Yeah, just one. Just one's perfect.
Cool.
Stuff. Typically on these tests, we usually do about 3 runs. If the last test is still going well, we'll look to probably retest until we start seeing a drop off. You don't want to kind of cut this short, but we'll see how we get on. We've got 36.9 centimeters to beat. So let's have a look, Freds. Ready when you are. Explode. Proof's in the pudding. Proof's in the pudding. First jump, 37.6. Let's go. 5 kilos lighter, 5 kilos heavier, and jumping higher. So that suggests that the power has increased, even though the weight's gone up as well, which is great. Go for a retest. Drive those hips through at the top. Good, 36.9, so just a slight drop off. Don't feel like you have to be too rigid either. Go for what feels comfortable.
Okay.
What I want to see is that hip snap through at the top.
Yeah.
Your glutes are what's providing all the power, essentially. That's your big muscles that are working. So if you don't snap through, you're probably leaving a little bit on the table. Okay. So really emphasize that triple extension, essentially. Go on. Good jump. 38.3.
Hey,
let's go. Right, nice and aggressive. Just try and stay up there for as long as possible. Really throw yourself into it, all right? Go. Drive.
Oh, I didn't get my hips.
36.9, didn't quite get the hips there. That's all right. We'll go one more if you want.
Yeah.
You've gone up a couple centimeters, which is really good. So you don't need to push it too far. And this is only, it's worth noting, this is just only a retest on some of the kind of little KPIs I've set him while he's been injured. So it's just really good for us to kind of still have a training goal, especially while you're injured. It just helps with that motivation and actually coming back a better athlete. So we've had a really good opportunity to do some work on, haven't we? Yeah. On sprinting, conditioning, stiffness, some lower body strength and power work as well.
Well, my weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously now that his shoulder's kind of getting better and we're starting to build back on there, we can start chasing some whole body KPIs as well, which would be really cool. But really nice to see that there's been some improvement in these while he's been off. Yeah. And he's actually been doing his sprints and plyos, which is nice.
I tore my AC in my shoulder, my AC joint, going into carrying the ball, going into contact. 2 boys tackled me straight on my shoulder. Nice little tear.
How long have you been out for?
Since November.
Just heading back into pre-season now then?
Yeah. Hopefully, going out to train with Brecon first. Should be good fun. Hopefully, won't cause me any problems.
Looking to get back into it come September then as well. So back playing. Yeah, we've been doing kind of the return to play stuff with Fred's. Obviously, you've been working with your physios as well, haven't you? But I think it's important. Like when you get injured as an athlete, like there's still things you can work on. Fred's hard work. He came straight to us. He was like, "Guys, I want to work on some of my weaknesses," which is really cool. And a lot of that was to do with conditioning, speed. And the lower body stuff. So I think what I'm trying to get at is like an injury isn't, you're done for X amount until you're better. There's always things you can work on and just change the goalpost slightly. And now the really nice thing is he's been working so hard on his prehab, things like that, that we are starting to get some upper body in there. We're doing really well. Since the last time I've seen you, you've been getting back into completely normal pushing, pulling sessions, which is great. And basically what we're trying to do, so we're going into some pull work now. We're just in a hypertrophy block. So obviously he's been injured there for a while, so there's probably going to be some muscle atrophy. So what we're trying to do there is just build some muscle back around the joint to provide some protection. And then also just coordinate the movements again, get back to it. We don't need to diving straight back into strength work if the kind of joint isn't secure and stable. So we're just kind of building that up quite nicely. And then I think we're on week 3, aren't we? Week 3 of this hypertrophy phase. So get next week done is our last week, and we're going to start phasing in some strength work then, and hopefully getting him back to his full potential, ready for September. So that's the plan.
I think one thing I did struggle with was going back into exercise was the actual stretching of it, was more mobility, and sort of causing pain when I try and go into sort of the deeper stretches of stuff. So I think band work and a lot of sort of more rotationary sort of stuff really helped. Sort of make it move a bit easier. Yeah,
just giving some love to those smaller muscles, the stabilizers, things like that. First up, we've got some med ball slams. Now, even though Fred is in a hypertrophy block, we still want a power stimulus. And then as he progresses through the strength capacity, strength, max strength, power work, the volume of the power will probably start increasing. But at the moment, we just want to start drip feeding some in, get him used to having some power stimulus back through his shoulder and through his back. So starting off with med ball slams, we've got 3 sets of 3 reps, okay? So as explosive as you can be, try and throw the ball through the floor. So you can see Fred's really good at these. He's getting that full extension at the top, so he's really getting like a full range of motion, which is really important for power. A lot of people kind of get a bit carried away, and instead of going for a quality rep with power and getting a full kind of extension, they think faster is better, so they kind of snatch it off the floor and they rip it through like this. So if your med slam's looking like that and you're kind of just reaching to here, you're not getting full muscle recruitment, okay? So I want you to really extend, and then from there you're ripping through. And Fred's can throw it a lot harder than I can, so I'll let him carry on demoing that. We're going to move into the kind of main meat and bones of the session, okay? So we're starting off with some horizontal rows, barbell bent over rows. Really nice to start bringing this exercise back in because it allows us to kind of load up that position which we want to be strong in for rugby, okay? So we're not challenging the weight crazy amount. We've got 8 reps, 4 sets, okay? So we'll just start getting up and building up to those working sets now.
With these, my lower back seems to be cramping up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure whether that's to do with my form or not really sure, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll have a look. I think a lot of people, sometimes if you're trying too hard to hinge or you're not letting the bar track your legs, the further away the bar is from your center of mass, the more pressure it's going to put on your lower back. So we'll have a look at kind of what the movement looks like, and then hopefully we can coach around that then. Yeah, it's an empty bar, but straight away, see how that bar is coming away from your body. Yeah. Keep it tight to you. It doesn't have to track your legs as such. It's at that bottom phase where it's coming away from the body. Yeah. It's probably causing a little bit. Before you go down, I want you to set properly, okay? So like you would in like an RDL or something. Shoulders back, chest nice and high, and when you're hinging, keep that position, okay? So we want to keep those shoulders kind of locked back in that position there. Good. Good. How's it feeling now?
Good, yeah, a lot better.
Cool, cool. So I think maybe it was just rushing the setup slightly and not setting where your chest stayed nice and high almost. I think if you cave into it, it puts a lot of pressure to your lower back there. But when you set like this and then you come down, you know, like when you're in an RDL and you're really emphasizing the glutes engagement there, you've got a nice strong base, you're staying in this position, you're not caving here. If you're caved, that puts a lot of pressure and tension to the lower back. If you stay strong here and your hinges through your hamstrings and your glutes, then you're going to be in a much stronger base. And that's why I like this exercise for athletes as well, is because it teaches them to load into this strong position, which is how you should be like hitting contact and stuff like that as well. So really good, mate, really good. Got a lat pull down next up, but what we want to do is, you know, it's not often I get the opportunity to have an athlete down with me, and obviously pull-ups are going to start phasing back into his program in the next block, and just make sure the form's there and make sure that the intensity's there as well, so that he can kind of fly into that next block. They haven't been in the program for a little while the shoulder's been recovering, so it's a nice opportunity for us to go through that form and movement pattern together now. So we're just going to start off with a bit of a heavier band. Rep range I want between like 6 and 8. So we're still kind of in that strengthy hypertrophy rep range, okay? And all we're gonna do is just go through some technique stuff. So start with the band, make sure that everything's feeling okay, and then we can get a good gauge of how he's moving and how to load and progress these exercises over the next few blocks for his program then. Kind of work out how we're going to load this now going into strength blocks. So one of my favorite things to do if you're looking to develop your chin-ups is going to be clusters. So that's a way that we can add additional load and get more volume with it. So with the band now, you've got another 2 weeks of hypertrophy. So what I'll do is I'll swap out your lat pull down next week for these, just to get some movement and some coordination back into the movement. And then what we'll probably do is heading into the strength, the strength capacity block, is actually look to add some clusters in, because he's a bit of a bigger lad, a bit of a unit. What we want to do is actually get him really strong there. So what we'll do, we'll probably break that up into 3 by 3 by 3. So he'll go 3 reps, 20 seconds rest, 3 reps, 20 seconds rest, 3 reps, 20 seconds rest, maybe at body weight or with a lighter band. And that's really easy to progress over the weeks then. So what we can do is either decrease the reps and increase the weight. So 2 by 2 by 2, 2 by 2, 1 by 1. So you can see that kind of progression there over the few weeks. And over that time, as the reps come down, we can either decrease the band, or we can start adding additional weight to him. So really kind of easy way of periodizing your kind of chin up strength there. Basically just the last set, okay? So what we're doing is just chasing some intensity, okay? So we're just gonna add an additional band. There's a little bit more assistance so that you can get a little bit more reps out. And hopefully just add a little bit more of a hypertrophy stimulus, okay? Next up, we've got some accessory work now, okay? So we've done the big kind of heavy lifting and shifting. This is just some more accessory work to, again, just build some volume and some size around the shoulders to protect them. So we just got a nice lat pull over, so just a nice big stretch and pull through to the hips, okay? And we're gonna superset that then with a shrug, okay? So just targeting those nice big traps up there. Imagine almost dropping your head between, okay? So I want a really good stretch down here. This is where I'm targeting. And when you're pulling, focus on driving with that part of your back. Okay. I'm a big fan of adding as much kind of rear delt volume as I can into rugby kind of programs. I feel like it's a really neglected muscle group and can probably cause a lot of their shoulder injuries. Whenever you're doing pressing, whether that's bench press, overhead, whatever that is, you're recruiting kind of your front delt, and a lot of people have kind of like an imbalance with their front delt to their rear delt. So adding just a little bit extra rear delt volume into programs is going to be a really good idea for just kind of balancing them out and making sure that your shoulder is kind of well developed and well rounded there.
I didn't really train them at all. I do a couple of the weird sort of like ones on a cable like that.
I love them, by the way.
Once a week.
They're one of my favorites.
I just don't think it was enough.
I
wasn't building muscle at all.
Definitely trying to get like 2 or 3 exercises in, sprinkle them across the week.
Yeah.
It's going to make such a big difference, paired then with your prehab stuff that you're doing with your swimmers and things like that. It's just going to help to really build up just the stability and making sure that there's no imbalance there. You don't want a big old front delt and then the rest of it's like nothing. So yeah, I just think just peppering them in, getting them in is a good idea. Not often we get the opportunity to have one of our signature program members down because they're kind of spread out all over the place. But it'd be really nice to kind of hear some feedback on kind of how you've been getting on with the signature and your kind of journey on there so far. Some of the questions that we might have, and it'd be nice for you to kind of tell the viewers as well, is what you were struggling with before you came into the academy on the signature program.
I really struggled with sort of phases of working out. So doing a hypertrophy a couple of weeks and then doing like a loading phase or anything like that. I really struggled knowing when to do it and for how long. And the program has really helped, sort of giving a clear representation of when you're going to do it and how long for, and you can actually track your progress and actually get some good results. Whereas beforehand, I was sort of up and down, not very consistent, and some weeks I would sort of flip-flop between wanting to do high reps for muscle, and then I'd all of a sudden go to low reps and try and get sort of
test a random 1RM.
yeah. So it's not very organized, but this has really helped and actually see a lot more progress, a lot more consistent progress as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I think when athletes come in, a lot of what they're missing is kind of structure and education. And one of the main things that I like to focus on is not just writing them random sessions up for a couple of weeks in advance, but when they come in, writing, I don't know, 12 to 16 weeks up front and being like, right, on your onboarding call, this is what we're doing here, this is what we're doing here, this is what we're doing here. This is the kind of adaptation you can expect from that kind of training. And an athlete responds a lot better to knowing what they're training for. You'll get a lot more buy-in, a lot more motivation. And for you, like, it'll probably help you knowing, right, I'm in a hypertrophy block at the moment. I know I can push my exercises to the absolute wall, get a really good stimulus for muscle building. And we're going to go into a strength block after, and we've got all the percentages there, all the rep ranges there, and you know what kind of adaptation you're going to get out of that. So I think that's really valuable.
I think also sort of talking with you and actually learning where, actually sort of identifying key weaknesses. Like I had a real problem with my ankles. They're still not great, but they're better than they were, a lot better. But it was sort of, I used to get a lot of shin splints, and then speaking to you, sort of easy way of getting rid of them is actually training your calves, because they're underdeveloped. It helps get rid of your shin splints. Yeah, and that sort of made it a lot more comfortable to run, stops so I could actually get a lot fitter.
Yeah, definitely. I think just addressing those weaknesses has been class, and you've been flying, mate. It's been really, really good to watch. Another question we have then, which kind of ties into what you said there, is what kind of progress have you seen on the academy, and kind of how long have you been on for?
I've mainly seen progress sort of with muscle development and speed. So I've never been, size of me, I'm not going to be very fast, but training with Gassy has actually made me a lot faster and a lot fitter as well as packing on size, and sort of, which you normally don't really see. If you're going to pack on a bit of size, you tend to see either maintain speed or drop off at a bit of speed. But it's been really nice to actually carry on developing my speed. Yeah.
Were you training speed before?
No.
There's your answer. So if you want to be doing stuff, like if you want to get faster, and that's a nice one for you guys, if you're watching, like if you want to get faster, you need to be sprinting. You need to be doing the exercises that are going to translate to that as well, and get you sort of physically prepared for that. But it's been great. Like it's been great just to structure his week out and be like, right, I mean, as a rugby player, you need to be good in so many different physical qualities. You can't just be, right, I'm just going to get big for a couple of months. Like, you need to still be fast. You need to still sort of be able to change direction, things like that. So just having a clear plan and a clear goal and being like, right, we need to tick off X amount of sprint sessions this week, X amount of conditioning sessions, gym is this many times a week, and just building that around your schedule is probably one of the benefits of the signature program there.
Yeah, definitely.
Why did you choose SW7 Academy then?
I think it's a very good way of developing for, I know other people could use it for other stuff, but I've sort of used it in mind for rugby and sort of developing my on-pitch, on-field performance. And having people like yourself and Warburton, both of you, it's been a massive help to actually make sure it's actually targeted for rugby, not just general fitness as well.
Yeah.
That's why I sort of mainly picked it.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. That was a session with my signature program client, Freddie Cloak. Obviously, we're getting him back to match fitness, ready for him to hit the season hard come September following his shoulder injury. So it's been a long, lengthy rehab process for him. I think he's been off now since pretty much November last year. So we've been building him back through all the phases. We're finally at a stage where we're getting some good hypertrophy work into his upper body. Next up is going to be strength, and then we're going to get him into some power work before the season starts. If you're interested in more information around the signature program, please just click the link in the bio and we will get in touch.